The weekly market review for Saturday. Today, the 31st of May. Let's have a look at the usual suspects. So Dixie, okay, we'll start from the weekly chart and look at Dixie on the weekly chart. So Dixie, what we can see is all these red lines are the 50 EMA and the 50 SMA, and these are 200 EMA and SMA. And as you can see, we're going to cross at some point, but before that, I think you tend to get a rally. We had a triple green, however, there's a lot of selling pressure at the top, and I think last week I was expecting us to come into this box. We came close to it, but we didn't get into the box. There is now a divergence because last week we didn't have these candles which are formed here. Now we have a divergence between this and this. So there is a divergence here now formed. This could be a lower high, and therefore we could be then rallying into the dead cross, which is incoming, which will send us back down. So that's what I'm seeing with the Dixie at the moment. So the scenarios are more likely have a rally up into the dead cross and then dump after the dead cross takes place, and then that can bring us back to exceed this line that I've drawn here, because there's an interest candle which needs to be exceeded, and that interest candle I think is on one of the lower time frames. I think it's on the daily chart actually. So if we go into the daily chart, there is an interest candle that I'm watching here, which I think will have to be exceeded. So if this one here, right? So this candle is my interest candle, and I think it will be exceeded. So which means the dollar comes to maybe probably 96.5, 96.2, somewhere there, but not just now. For now, we will be potentially going up, because if you go into the 4 hours, what you can see on the 4 hours is there's a lot of consolidation going on. So that's the lower high, and then we've come back into it. So I think, most likely, we are likely to, kind of rally up, back up whilst, the dead cross comes. So if we let's go back to the daily chart. So on the daily chart, you can see MACD is below 0. And we kind of had a big sell-off here, and there's a gap up on it. So definitely, I think for me, based on the weekly, I think we go up first into the dead cross incoming before any potential downturn continues. So that's the dollar. We'll be monitoring that. And then the Nasdaq. For the Nasdaq, let's look at it from a weekly perspective, right? So MACD is still in a positive territory. So if you look at MACD, it's in a positive territory. It's not negative. If we look at the RSI is nowhere near oversold region yet. We still closed the week a green candle. So there's a lot of sell pressure at the top, but we closed the green candle. And if we take it down to the daily, we have kind of like a stop, so like a rejection of lower price here. And I'm going to show you something on the monthly chart, which is quite important, because on the monthly chart, you see, I think we definitely have closed green. And normally when you close green, you tend to go back into some of the body of the candle before you continue going up. So we could potentially have a move back down. I'll probably say into these tops here, and then continue going to the upside based on the monthly chart. So, but if I show you that, you see this candle here, this is a similar candle that we formed, right, on that daily chart of the rejection, and we can come all the way into about even 50 to 60% of that candle. So if you bring it here and have a look at this, you could be coming down next week to somewhere here, right? So if I just move this, let's move this down here, and then let's move this to this tops here, top of the red candle. Now we could be coming somewhere here, and then we continue going up. So I would expect us to come down first to go up, because there's going to be a golden cross, and when you're going to have a golden cross, you tend to go up first, and then you tend to dump into the golden cross, which is incoming at the moment, and then you kind of go up after the golden cross. But because of the move that we've done so far from here, this golden cross is not going to give us the same bounce like if the golden cross had happened when we were somewhere here, right? So we will still go up, probably go and do a new all-time high, and then afterwards we then collapse when these golden crosses, this one here will cross, and then this one also will come and cross this one as well. So there's two of them. Each one is the EMA and one is the MA, so you get two on my chart. So for next week, I think I expect us to come back into this wick here. I'm going to get rid of this line. I don't need it. And I'll kind of move. Ultimately, I think we'll come back into the zone. But for next week, let's just predict for next week. We'll put this somewhere there, and then make this, put this here, and make it smaller to where we expect it to be, somewhere there. Yep, and then we'll be going back up again to try and do a new all-time high. Okay, so that's the Nasdaq. SPX. XPX is the same, so we won't waste too much time on it. XPX is the same. We also have another rejection as well, and XPX, we've already had our kind of golden cross here, and we had a drop as a result. After the golden cross, we've had a drop, and then we've gone up, and we're going to have another golden cross as well. So my suggestion is we go up first, and then we'll come back after the golden cross is taking place. So I'd expect us to keep going up on this one as well. If we look at it from a monthly perspective, it's also green as well, so green candle. So maybe we come back into it, and let's look at the weekly. The weekly is also positive, just at the sell pressure, and unfortunately we closed below here, which I don't like. But however, it's still the bulls are still in charge on the daily. So let's use the daily. Ultimately, we'll come here at some point before we continue, but for now, we'll move this here. We'll move this to this point and put it there. So the price will come into here, and then we'll continue going up. Because if you look at the 4 hours, I think the price will potentially come back in a little bit and go up, or we may just continue going up. It's unlikely that we just continue going up. So I think there'll be a small pullback, and then you continue going up. If we go below this candle here, then we are more likely coming back all the way down here. If we go below this candle, then more chances are we're coming down to this point here. So that's the only caution. The only caution is if this whole candle is raised, then you're more likely coming down here. On the balance of probabilities, I don't think that's the case. I think what happens is we end up going, after coming into this zone. I will probably even make this slightly smaller so that it forms, so it aligns itself with the base of the previous of this candle here. So I wouldn't want us to go below 5880. If we do, it won't be good. So that's what I'm seeing in XPX. So it's a very similar story. We are likely to come down and continue going up, would be what I would expect. Because, and you can see even on the 12 hours, we've just had the dead crosses, right? So that's the golden crosses. And as soon as you have the golden cross, you have a dump. We have another golden cross, we have a dump. And then we had another golden cross here, we've had another dump. So afterwards, we're going to go up first. But I think because of the extent of the move, we're not going to go up much. I think we'll go up and do a new all-time high. And then potentially, come back all the way back to this zone here. to this zone to correct ourselves before we start going up again. So that's what we'll be watching on the XPX. And if I go on to gold, right? So gold is on the weekly chart. Let's go into the weekly chart. So gold is MACD is tailing off. Volume, we had a good volume this week, and we couldn't go up. We have an inside bar at the moment here, and it's still a triple red. Could we be something like this where we go up again on gold? We are above the trend line, so we closed above or below the trend line. So we closed below the trend line, which is not good. We went up, tried to go above, closed below. Let's go into the daily and see what we can see on the daily. So on the daily chart, we've come to this low point here, and divergence has moved us all the way up there. We've come back, created another divergence again, and we seem to be going up. I think on balance of probabilities, I would say gold will try. I think gold will try to go up and into this box. I think it will try to go back into this box, would be what I expect. But if it goes below here, so if we kind of trading, then, if you go below here, then the trade is wrong and you have to close the trade because it's invalidated in terms of the upside. And if that's the case, then we will be coming all the way back to this box again. That will be the area of interest. Let's see whether there's any golden crosses or dead crosses, which we are not looking at yet. Let's see. We don't have any here. We don't have any here. They're all good. They're all kind of in the same zone. So that's what I'll be expecting. I mean, if we break the 200 or even on the 50, this is the 50. If we break this, if we close below this candle, then I would expect more downside. So that's the key caveat to the upside. So when you take the trade, you make sure your stop loss is below here. And then if it goes, you make the money. If it doesn't, you get stopped out and you lose a very small amount of money. So that will be what I expect on gold. Let's move on to the VIX. So the volatility index is calming down. It's, I think, doing exactly what I anticipated it would do. After we went to close the gap, we're coming down. And I expect this to come down to this box at some point. We'll come back down here. So I think there's something brewing after this thing gets to somewhere here. I think because it will have some serious volatility in the market. So, but I think this will continue to go down. We might get a small bounce up, but I think it continues going down, the volatility index. As for Bitcoin, let's look at dominance. So Bitcoin dominance it's a bit of a problem at the moment. It keeps going up, doesn't want to tail off. Based on the weekly chart, MACD, we had this volume, we increased volume. This week it's not finished, but we're above the line. So it's possible we go up some more. It's possible. The week is not finished, so it's difficult to draw the conclusion. But let's go to the daily and see what's happening on the daily. There's some sell pressure on the daily chart. There's some sell pressure. So I think today's close will be helpful. Let's look at 4 hours and see. 4 hours, okay. So if this is 64.56, 64.55, so there's like a double top here. So if this closes red and it closes back into the KC channel, which it looks like it is trying to do, then I would say we may get some cooling off, because this is a golden cross. This is a golden cross, and normally with a golden cross, you tend to kind of come down after the golden cross. So I'd expect some more downside. Then I'll expect this to probably be red at the end of it, and then come down a bit more and test this line here. So, but this one obviously is immature. So I think I'll do a proper update on this on Sunday, because I think this is most likely to be red, but that would be my stance. And if this is red, then you're more likely coming down to this point, which means altcoins might bounce a little bit, you know. So, but I'll give a more update on this tomorrow in my kind of crypto update. And then I'll quickly have a look at Bitcoin. So if I go and look at Bitcoin now on here, so weekly chart, we're having a red candle on Bitcoin. It's quite a big red candle at the moment. Where do I think this might be heading? I think we probably close red this week. And if we close red this week, the chances are we'll have a bounce up and we'll go likely lower. So I will probably say Bitcoin probably closes here somewhere around the 100K mark. Let's move this. So our box is being hit. So let's move the box down. I think it closes somewhere there. It gets to somewhere here. If I go to let me go to the daily chart and see. Yeah, so somewhere here, I think, you know, these things they are moving up anyway. So somewhere there is where I think it will hit, and then it will turn back and go, because this pink candle here is 102.038, and I think we would expect that to be exceeded at some point before we go up. So this candle here and this candle here are potential opportunities. So I would say, let's put it down here. I think this is where I think it will come to about 100,000, somewhere there, and then we'll be going again. So a little bit, probably a little bit more downside. If I go and look at 4 hours, you can see we had a stop. We do have a stopping candle, but it's not the best stopping candle in the world. We're still inside the KC channel. So it depends on how this 4-hour candle, if this 4-hour candle were to close green, then maybe, more chances are we will bounce. We will bounce on Bitcoin, maybe bounce up to about 104 here, I think, and then come back down again. Or we may try to go back up and hit somewhere like 106. 106. So it depends on how this candle closes. This candle is looking good, I think, but there is a potential for it to hit this 102 and go slightly lower into some of our zones, maybe just slightly lower, long wick that goes low and then comes back, rises back up again, because we kind of on 12 hour on the daily chart, or even on the 12 hours, let's do 8 hours. 8 hours, you're going to have like a cross coming in, and this will definitely push us down a little bit more. So definitely this area becomes a very, and I mean, the good news is we're still inside the KC channel on 8 hours. We're still inside on 12 hours. We haven't breached it here. We haven't breached it on 4 hours, like closing outside. We haven't. So it's all looking good from that perspective. And if this thing closes green, then you may have a bottom here, but it depends on the next 4 hours. If it closes green and it goes above here, then it's looking very good. It's looking really, really good. So I will give a proper update on this. I think my bias is we are close to the bottom, right? We are close. I would say 100K, we won't go below 100K. So that will be my line, that we are unlikely to go below. But let's see. I'll give an update on Sunday's video. I think we're very close to the bottom, where price can start going up. All these pink candles here are potential opportunities in telling us selling pressure is drying up. Selling pressure is drying up. Selling pressure. And you can see the volume of selling is tailing off as well. So it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So it's looking quite good from that perspective. The volumes are dropping in terms of the selling volume. You can see this was the big selling volume. And we've had this here, which is smaller. So a few more hours, I think, will help us to decide. But I don't think we go below 100,000 based on the selling volume we're getting at the moment. So we'll give an update on Sunday. But I think for now, I would say this week we close red. Maybe we come down slightly after that. into the 100K mark and then continue our journey to the upside. This move is not finished. It's only kind of like the first step on this journey. So we'll come down, and then next week we'll have another, after pulling back down, we'll go and have another step, and that'll be step 2, and then there will be a step 3. So we're not done yet. This is not done yet. So that's Bitcoin, and that's what I think on Bitcoin. So all the best, and I'll give you an update on Sunday on altcoins and also Bitcoin as well.